Hi, good evening, and welcome to my daily live session on various topics for execution excellence. My name is Dinakar. I'm the founder of Samutana and inventor of DoHow, a methodology for driving teams to achieve challenging goals and amazing outcomes, and while doing so, getting them to acquire leadership skills by changing mindset and to acquire the management skills by moving forward on the journey towards smart manufacturing. So I've been speaking in the last couple of days on smart manufacturing, and on the left, what you see here are the various cycles of smart manufacturing. And today I will be talking about the process cycle. And the right, what you see here is the pictorial or my understanding of mindset and culture, with each head here representing one unique mindset. And if you want to know more about that, you can always check out the videos in YouTube or our website. You can get information on that. There are quite a few content there, blogs, material, and lot of things there. So Duhao is all about getting people inspired. I call it as inspirational persuasion. Inspirational because of the leadership, persuasion because of management. Management is all about doing things efficiently, which means uh, getting people to do something in a way that is the best way of doing it. And that's right. Therefore, you need persuasion. It's not about inspiration. Inspiration is about leadership. So this is a combination of both leadership and management. So inspirational persuasion, one for leadership, the other one for management, one using changing the mindset and culture, and the other side trying to influence the smart manufacturing by progressing in the cycles of smart manufacturing, which is what I'm talking about in the last couple of days. You want to know more about what we do, please do visit dinakarmurthy.com. Otherwise, you are most welcome to write an email to me. My email is dinakar@samuthana.com. With that brief introduction, or maybe a little longer one today, let me directly jump into the topic of the day. I've been talking about smart manufacturing. The first thing is, which I've been repeating every day, is that smartness comes because of the ability to control. Control is the main and the most important thing, where we are talking about creating an algorithm which defines after understanding the cause and effect. That's what the control is all about. And that is also the same as the plan phase in the PDCA cycle. And then comes the next activity of actuating based on this algorithm. That would be the doing phase, and after that, sensing or checking, and finally to correct the algorithm so that the algorithm gets continuously optimized. And that's the concept of machine learning, and that's the foundation of smart manufacturing. And what is smart manufacturing? Actually, it is basically using hardware and software technology for assisting to fully managing repetitive tasks within an environment or ambience. That is the my definition of smart manufacturing. So let us proceed further with that very brief definition of smart manufacturing, to look at what is really the smartness in manufacturing. And now we talk about using the various cycles, which is what I spoke to you in the first slide, which is the or was it not in the, it was not in the first slide, it was in my background, where you saw these circles here. These circles are the ones which are what is where or what I am explaining in terms of the smart manufacturing, which are all PDCA cycles. PDCA stands for Plan, Do, and Check, Act, which is a very old, well-known Deming cycle, and that base I have used for explaining the for introducing the smart manufacturing in product cycle, process cycle, people, performance, productivity, programming, and finally progression cycle. So let's look at today's topic of process cycle. Last week I spoke about product cycle. On Monday, I basically introduced the process cycle by talking about the first phase, which was the value stream design, and then went on to talk about the process development phase, then the stability, capability, and the flow phase. And today I'll be talking about the control plan and instructions phase. That is the acting phase, where based on the stability, capability, and flow, if they are all, what should I say, acceptable, then one would start preparing a control plan and the instructions. Otherwise, one needs to really continuously work on defining the value stream design and go back to process development till it gets stable and capable. That's the most important thing. Otherwise, doing will not really be of much help. So in this phase of control plan and instructions, what could be the area where smartness can be brought in? Let me introduce four areas where smartness can be brought in. First is the control strategy and reaction plan. See, control strategy is basically, again, coming back to the first slide which I showed. It is about defining how, with what algorithm is somebody going to ensure that there is a control happening, that some kind of an algorithm, and based on that the actuation happens, and then something gets sensed, and again it gets corrected. That's the cycle. That's the PDCA cycle, which is the core of control plan, which is what would be the end result of process development. Once the process development is done, control plan gets defined, and control plan basically talks about how the critical characteristics are being controlled in each operation. And what would be the reaction plan? Reaction plan is some kind of a which is, let us say, the act phase or the correction phase. So here, for the control strategy and reaction plan, smartness is really not possible. It is only human mind, human intervention and experience is what that really counts to prepare a control plan and a reaction plan. Then comes the next one, which would be the workplace instruction and inspection templates. Workplace instructions, again, you can't really automate it. It depends on what process that is being followed. There are a lot of human, what should I say, intelligence is required. Artificial intelligence is not possible. Then comes the inspection templates. That is something which is outstanding, where automation can be done in a big way. And now I'm going to introduce to you what is called as a low-code platform. I don't know whether you heard of that. Many of the ones in the IT space, I'm sure for them it will be just cakewalk, because it's a day in and day out for those in the IT space, because these low-code platforms are really possibly the biggest disruption which happened in the IT space in the last decade or so. Because with low-code platforms, you don't need developers writing codes for preparing apps. The apps can be done by anybody like me. I'm not a coder. I'm not a software engineer. I can do an app. I've done multiple such apps using what is called as Zoho Creator, which is a low-code platform. There are multiple other platforms. The first thing which I did was using Do Forms. It's another platform, Do Forms. It's called as the mobile forms, where again you can create workflows and forms. So these templates can be placed in the in these low-code platforms. Why is it required in the low-code platform? See, if suppose the inspection templates are done in the low-code platform, then mobility becomes a very good option, because the setters or the supervisors are walking around in the shop, and they can use these to define what inspection is being done and what are the actual values they're measuring. I remember a long time back when I was in Brazil, 1990 to 1995, we had, I think, Data Byte it was called as, if I'm not mistaken, Data Byte or Data General or something like that. I had bought 4 such things for my SPC auditors, who would basically go to each workstation and then check the components and enter data into that, or it would directly get connected to that. I'm talking about 90s. Because I was responsible for introducing SPC in the factory. So we had the job of making sure that SPC gets implemented for process control. And as I had explained in one of the earlier videos, my main way of implementing SPC, for really to use an analogy, I called it as the watermelon analogy. To really, I call it as a watermelon concept, Wassermelon concept, basically to ensure that there is an understanding as to what is the concept of sampling. Even today it's required. It's something which is very, very important. So from that point onwards we started, and after that we did a fantastic activity in the shop floor. Our defect cost came down, our defects reduced, and productivity improved with all absolutely, and the control, the stability of the process improved significantly. And for that we had these 4 instruments. I think it was called a Data General, a data, I don't remember the name specifically. So that was basically a device which was which looked something like a tab, no, not a tablet. It was something like what would I compare that with? Maybe like these people who do the water bill reading or electricity bill reading. They walk around with a device hung from their and that's something. It looks something like that. And that device had the keypad, and one could enter the values. Or if you could attach a digital interface, we had also bought vernier calipers and micrometers with digital interface, so it could directly get connected there to measure the component. It will directly go in there for the dial indicators, then vernier calipers and micrometers. So this device would be used by the SPC auditors, is what I had defined them as. Their job was to go to each workstation and then check out if the process, what is the process variation. See, I think in the beginning I said that the core and the key, what should I say, secret for improving in any business is to reduce the variations. So work on the variations, then you can really get a lot of things done. And there, our idea was to again work on the variations. So that was being used, and that really helped us in basically monitoring the level of the stability and the process variations across the entire plant. We must have had close to about 1,200, machines, and for each of these processes we could do that. And that could be done using technology. And today, if suppose you have it on a mobile device, everybody has a mobile phone, and they could use their mobile phone to work on the inspection instructions, inspection templates. And like I said, I have done that using low code platforms like Zoho Forms, and then Zoho Creator, and the other one is Do Forms. These are the two which we had done. In fact, yesterday there was one interesting experience where we had gone to the customer where we have introduced Do Forms about 5 years back. They've been using it since 5 years, and they're so happy, so happy that, sir, earlier what amount of effort we had, and today it is so easy, and it's like there's nobody managing that entire thing. It runs more or less like an autonomous organization, and that's something which is phenomenal. Once you put the technology in the right way, then it really can aid you. Otherwise, it can become a big pain in the ass. So once you have done that, that is the inspection templates, where you can do using low code platforms. Similarly, low code platforms can be used for creating machine, 5S, process, and quality audit checklists. This is something which is fantastic, where the checklist can be automated. Again, using low code platforms is very simple. There's no rocket science in that. You can check out with by Googling Zoho Creator is what I've been using, like I said. Otherwise, you can also use other platforms. There are mobile forms. The advantage of the mobile forms is that those softwares work with or without internet connection. See, in manufacturing, it's a strange situation that internet is not always available. Therefore, with or without internet connection, Do Forms is fantastic for that. Otherwise, Pronto Forms is the other one, which also works offline and online. And there is a sync happens seamlessly. It's like having Outlook in your computer or WhatsApp in your mobile phone. You really don't know that it is getting synced or not getting synced. It happens seamlessly. Once you get the signal, it gets synced. And so that's the advantage of going in for such offline and online platforms. Whereas the other ones, for example, Zoho Creator doesn't work offline. So there is possibility of an offline, but it is quite a cumbersome thing. It's not easy at all, because if there is a database which is linked and you are trying to look up something in a database, which is quite common in the case of inspection templates, Zoho Creator will not work. Only if it is a standalone form, it works. But then standalone form will not be of any use, because you can't make it in any way a smart form. It will be like a dumb form, so it won't really make much help. So that is where the automation can be done. So this is the most important thing which I want to stress, which is the biggest gap in most of the industries, where all this data is captured but it is not digital. So if it is not digital, what are you going to do with that? If it becomes digital, then you can create templates, you can create escalations, you can create trend graphs, which confirms the progress. That is motivating. So that's why it is required. And the next one, which is very, very interesting, is what is called as manufacturing execution systems. I'm not sure, I'm sure the ones in the big, large companies know what MES is all about. But for the smaller ones, it's a very interesting concept of making sure that the entire thing is digitized. You got traceability from the start till the end, and you can drill down to finding out what's the root cause of anything at the touch of a button. And that's something which is phenomenal. Yesterday, in fact, I had gone to one of the top tooling manufacturers in Bangalore, a company called as Gusti Toolworks, and they have implemented a phenomenal automation or a digitization of the lot card. That means the entire data which was there in the lot card now is digitized. They've got computers kept in each workstation, and then it gets entered there. The data gets entered, and then they've got barcode scanners which should not require the operator to keep on entering component data and component numbers. And they wanted to go into the RFID, the next stage. So that is something which is one part of the MES. Apart from that, the integration of the checklist, integration of the scheduling, integration of the traceability, and also the connection between the component dimension which was there in the soft stage to what was there in the hard stage, to interrelate those things and then create a digital twin. Before a digital twin is created, manufacturing execution system is the basic thing. If that is not available, then a digital twin cannot be created. If the digital twin cannot be created, there is no concept of having a industry 4.0 solution, because there will be a lot of islands where the solutions would be there, but that won't really impact the business at all. I can repeat this once again. It won't impact the business at all, because there are a lot of companies who have invested on data gathering systems for monitoring the OEE. Fantastic. It looks outstanding. You keep getting the OEE graphs wherever you are in the world. But unless that OEE gets converted into a higher sale, or the OEE gets converted into a reduction of the increase in the productivity, which means that the OEE has to be done only on the constrained machine. So there's no point in monitoring OEE on all the machines. Only on the constrained machine. I've got one client who does machining. They got about 40 odd VMCs and HMCs, mainly VMCs, I would say, and one or two terminal centers. They have put OEE monitoring on all the machines, and it doesn't work. Like I was telling the other day, it gets camouflaged because people would find it difficult that they are being monitored and not the machine performance. Therefore, it doesn't work. And that being the case, so why is it that you are doing all that is the question which I have got. And that's one of the reasons why I've been talking about this quite vocally, because these are the areas where we need to work in smartness. Not, of course, that is required, and that comes later in my opinion, because once there is a concept of control, and that kind of a closed control loop is available, then all the others can follow. That's the smartness which I am talking about. And so for that, MES is required, manufacturing execution system. Then comes the next, once we have done this, if suppose all these things are not done, let us say we are not having a control strategy, reaction plan in place, workplace instructions are not good enough, machine audit checklists are not there, MES is not really working fine, then what do? We just continue in the same cycle once again, get back to the value stream design, then talk about process development, check the capability, and then keep doing this cycle as long as you want. And once that is done, the next activity would be to check out if the process cycle which we are talking about now, where we talk about stability, capability, and flow, is stable. That means, is there stability available in the entire process? If the stability is available, then fine, we check out if the capability is available. When these two are available, then we can get on to the people cycle. Now I talk about the people cycle, where again smartness is possible, which will be my topic for the next week, for Monday onwards. And tomorrow I'm not going to be having a live session because I'm traveling. I'll be out of Bangalore. So I don't think I'll be able to conduct a drive session, and possibly I'll be driving at this time. And if suppose it is not stable and it is, then you get back to the product cycle. That's the interesting thing. Now I'm telling you, if it is not stable, then get back to the product cycle to really look at what can be done at the product level to make it more robust. If it is not stable at all. If it is stable, then we look at capability. If it is capable, then we got to go to the people cycle. Otherwise, we continue in the process cycle till such time the value stream design is working, till such time that the process development is in place, and your stability and capability of these processes is ensured, and the control plan and instructions are possible. If it is not, I said you get back to the product cycle, because it's very simple. In design, there is called as product development, there is called as DFMA. I don't know, some of you may have heard that, which is designed for manufacturability and assembly. So this particular cycle doesn't become stable only because DFMA principles will be ignored in the product development. Therefore, you need to get back to product development to look at what can be done there. Maybe the 3D tolerance analysis to make sure that the stack analysis is done and the tolerances are optimized so that the process becomes stable. It's a connect between the two. Imagine I have a grinding machine, and my process today is to manufacture it on a grinding machine, and the design calls for let us say a tolerance of 5 microns or something like that, which cannot be done on the grinding machine which I have got. So I either can continue in telling that, look, I'm going to make making components with a CPK of less than 1 or maybe 1.2 or something like that, or I could go back to the stack analysis and find out if that 5 micron tolerance can be increased to 8 microns or maybe 10 microns. Then my CPK automatically increases, then the stability and the process capability check which I did here will improve, and therefore the flow improves, which means I can say that the process cycle is now stable and capable, therefore I can go to the next cycle. So that's the reason why one would get back to the product cycle and then come back here to the process cycle. That's the jumping which we would do. So what would I be doing on Monday? Monday, I would be talking about the next cycle, which will be the people cycle. Now, when the basics are settled, that means the product is clear, the process is clear, only then can we go to the people cycle. Otherwise, there's no point in building up, ramping up people. That then there we again talk about the four phases of control or plan, actuator, do, sensor, check, and finally the activity of correcting or acting. So that's what we will do on Monday. So till that time, have a nice weekend. And for those of you in India, have a nice evening. For those of you outside India, have a great day ahead. And let's meet up again on Monday. Until that time, goodbye and all the very best. Take care.